Morning, this is Brian. Today is Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023, and I'm here for the second week in a row in the Laguna Mountains, here in San Diego County, California. So I'm over at this little trailhead here. This is supposed to provide access to the PCT in order to hike on the Pacific Crest Trail if you want to do some local hikes. So I'm right across from Horse Heaven Campground. Right over here is Horse Heaven Campground. I was over here last week when I took this road and took an access road up to Lightning Ridge High Point. However, today I'm planning on going on the opposite side, but I'm going to be pretty close to where I was last week. I'm planning on heading over towards the PCT again, but I'm planning on heading to Peak 5958 that I pointed out last week on my Foster Point hike. So this time I'm going to be heading towards that peak today. Maybe if time and energy allows. Well, time shouldn't be too much of an issue, but if energy allows, maybe Hayes Peak, which is just to the south of Peak 5958. So we'll see how that goes today. So this trail should lead up towards the Pacific Crest Trail. Nice, beautiful morning out here. It's in the 50s right now. Should be heading up into, I believe, the mid to upper 60s today here. But in the lowlands, we're getting ready to start a bit of a heat wave. Ooh, a little western toad. Look at that. How cool is that? That's a little western toad juvenile right there. Oh, that is so dope. Has an Anaxyrus boreas halophilus, also known as Bufo boreas halophilus, a little toad. Wow, okay. That was cool. That's an old juvenile western toad right there. Just got to be careful, there might be others. Looks like it rained up here a couple days ago. We're supposed to get a small system come through. Where I live was just nothing but a few drops, but there must be a breeding pond or something around here. I wonder where. I'm just curious. That was really cool. Alright, so I'm going to be following this roughly east, and then I'm going to link up with the PCT. And then I'm going to head up to a crest along the PCT, and when I'm there, I'm going to bear off the trail and head up some hopefully relatively open slopes to finish getting up to Peak 5958. I don't know what kind of view of the peak I'll get, so I know I reach it. So we'll see. Well, I'm going to keep heading up this, and we'll see where this leads me up to today. Alright, so mountainous meadow area. I can see Monument Peak over there, and Hayes Peak's over there, it looks like. So my peak's going to be along this ridge here. So what I got to do is get on the PCT, and the PCT is going to take me close to it. not exactly at it. Like I said, once I get to the high point of that little section, I'm gonna have to turn left and head uphill the last maybe 50 yards, 100 yards to the summit. It's a very pretty area. Lots of meadow action over here. So this will be probably another really good area to get views of the Storm Canyon area. So here we are. This should be the PCT right here. If you go this way, it'll take you towards Foster Point. Oh, I think I see an oak titmouse in the tree. It looks like an oak titmouse. A little tiny thing too. All right, so we're at the PCT. So if you want to head to Foster Point from that trailhead, should be going this way. But I'm going to be going this way, and it's going to wind itself higher up on that ridge. It'll drop me off near Peak 5958, which I think is going to be more on that side there, I believe. It's not that far from the northern tip of the ridge when I did the little research on that. So I don't know if you'll be able to see that bird very clear, but it looked like an oak titmouse. Small bird. I think it has a little small crest on its head. That was pretty cool. So yes, we are on the southbound PCT right now. Very nice open country out here too. Lots of this. This is one of the most common shrubs you're going to find here. This is Palmer ceanothus, Ceanothus palmeri. Very common shrub here in the Laguna Range. Some type of herbaceous plant I can't quite identify yet. Can't quite identify the family of this plant just yet. Looks pretty neat. Do a little research on that. It's this one here. It's got these linear leaves and these interesting seed capsules. So it looks like I'll have to do a little research on this likely perennial or subshrub. Yeah, honestly, I can't even tell you what family it's in. I'll have to look it up and see what it is. Alright, so the trail is nicely and gently leading me up towards this ridge. And this is the same ridge that contains Peak 5958, which is my first goal of the day. Also connects Hayes, Monument, Stevenson Peaks before it dips down towards Storm Canyon on one side, and on the other side down towards Burnt Rancheria Campground and Desert View Picnic Area. So we're out more in the chaparral now. Very nice up here. All right, gonna start getting some good views opening up. Very nice views. I believe we're looking out towards Wooded Hill over there. I think that is. That should be Wooded Hill. This is a pretty nice and gentle trail section. Another little section of the PCT over here. So, let's see. catch you up the way. And enjoying these scrub oak acorns over here. Absolutely beautiful. These look like Mueller oaks over here. But I'm not sure if they're all pure Mueller oaks or if they're acutidens, which has Mueller scrub oak hybrid DNA in it. Alright, so what this trail should be doing is it should kind of curve its way. Ooh, a male velvet ant. Just saw a male velvet ant. It's the first male I've ever seen. Of course, the camera didn't get it because I couldn't get to it in time. But male velvet ants, which are actually wasps, and it looked like that one was Desimotel areola, I believe. That one had wings on it. The male velvet ants, which look like the females, except the fact they have wings on them. So I saw my first male velvet ant today. Alright. So I can see the PCT's kind of wiggling its way around the contour of this slope. So the peak's either going to be up there or somewhere up there, but I think it's closer to the north end before it drops off towards Storm Canyon. Of course, there's Garnet Peak over there. Got a nice dramatic view of it here. So, okay, well, I'm going to keep on pushing and I'll see you further up. Alright, so now, looking back, that's where Foster Point is. This, not that in the background, that's Peak 5868, what I was going to try to do last week. But this hill right here, that's Foster Point right there. That's where I was last week. So, pretty interesting that I decided to come back here. I was flirting with a couple of different ideas for today's adventure. I was thinking maybe, actually like 3 or 4 different ideas. Originally, I was thinking maybe go to the San Jacinto Mountains, hike up the Desert Divide and do maybe Palm View Peak or something of that sort. And then another possibility was to drive to Cuyamaca Rancho State Park, park in Green Valley, picnic area, and hike up to Hopashaw and Cuyamaca. That'll be my second ascent of Cuyamaca this year. That was another idea. The other idea was actually closer to the San Jacinto Mountains and think about hiking up from Garner Valley up to Thomas Mountain and Little Thomas Mountain. That was another idea I was tossing around. But doing those, I would have wanted to wake up much, much earlier to drive to the San Jacinto Mountains or Thomas Mountain area, or to do the hike to Cuyamaca, because from Green Valley it'd be a pretty long and pretty arduous pull. Lots of elevation gain on that one. Here we got a Mueller scrub oak right here, Quercus cornelius muelleri, and it's getting its acorns too. This one appears to be much more akin to what I would expect on Cornelius muelleri, with the more prominently fuzzy leaf tops and white fuzzy undersides. So we do definitely have Mueller scrub oak up here. Some of the scrub oaks here appear to be acutidens. And here's Quercus cornelius muelleri again. Very pretty, very beautiful scrub oak. And it is locally common along the crest and eastern side of the Laguna Mountains. I believe the Santa Rosas and San Jacinto Mountains. It should be over there too. And then there's parish blue curls again. Trichostemma parishii. Pretty neat. Alright, well, up I trudge. This is a very gentle portion of the PCT, so getting up to peak 5958, I think the most complicated part will be getting a brush-free route at the top, to the top. So basically, again, I'm going to reach the crest of the trail, the local crest, meaning the highest point in the general vicinity, because obviously it gets higher as you go in other directions. And when I'm there, at the high point of this section, that's where I'm gonna leave the trail. And it should be at a point where it curves and starts heading more to the south or southeast. And that's where I'm gonna look for my trail departure point and try to pick the least brushy route to get to the summit. So see how that works out. All right, so I am just about at the point of trail departure. This is the crest of this little small section. That's looking right at Hayes Peak right there. So I got some terrain over here, but I think I'm supposed to go this way. If I remember correctly, I think I should be turning left here off the PCT, because that, yeah, it should be this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the trail here. This is where it crests before it starts slightly going downhill. From about here, it's probably going to lose anywhere from 40 to 80, probably 40 to 80 feet of elevation before it dips down to the saddle between Hayes Peak and Peak 5958. So now it's time to find the least brushy route, which I looked on Google Earth, and it didn't look too bad on the southern approach. So I'm basically taking a southern-ish approach to get up to the peak. So, judging by the size of the chaparral shrubs here, it looks like it should be mostly wading as opposed to full bushwhacking, but we'll see. I'm gonna have to really look hard for the high point. So I'm just gonna try to follow this path of least resistance up here, and we'll see which one of these will be my peak. All right, well, I'm gonna work my way through this and we'll see. All right, so I'm just about to crest this hill here. This might be the peak. Yeah, looks like it. I think this is gonna be it. All right. Yeah, this is it. This is it, all right. All right. This is it. Peak 5958. So I'm at the top of this beautiful little summit here. So, here, I'll tell you. All right. And of course, there's Hayes Peak in the front and Monument Peak just behind it. And Stevenson Peak with the radar. It says we're looking south right now. Okay. Hayes, Monument, Stevenson, Cuyapape Mountain. That right there is, they call it Mount Laguna or Cleveland National Forest High Point, Peak 6299. Over there to the southwest. And Wooded Hill, as we swing it around more to the west, we get the ridge country over here. That should be over towards Otay Mountain over there. I can see Otay Mountain way off in the distance. And Peak 5868, Cuyamaca to the northwest, Santa Rosa Mountains and San Jacinto Mountains to the north. Northeast over towards good old Whale Peak. Now my battery's about to die, so I'm gonna go switch out and get a picture or two, and we'll start moving on with the next part. Alright, so I'm still up here on this awesome peak right here. I know the views are even crazier up there because those are the higher points there. But besides the slightly higher terrain over there, peaks are 200 to 300 feet higher than here. Just without that little slice of view there, there's a pretty awesome views here. I could even see a really clear shot of the Salton Sea over in Imperial County. Now, I'm going to go try to see if I can get to the edge of this. And we'll see what Storm Canyon looks like from over here. I'm assuming this is going to be very vertiginous and really cool. I'm going to be careful, watch my step over here. But look at that. Look at that drop from this side. So when I was looking at this peak, this ridge from Foster Point, which is over there kind of behind the folds of this hill, you can see how sharply it drops from this down to Storm Canyon. It's just absolutely breathtaking over here. And now we're looking over towards Garnet Peak with Palomar Mountain way behind it. So there's Garnet Peak over there. One thing I looked at on Peak Bagger and on the topo maps is if you want to do Garnet Peak, there are a ton of small peaks nearby. Some of them on Peak Bagger, some of them not. That would make an absolutely fun peak hiking adventure. That would really be cool. Now, there's one thing. As you drop off from Garnet Peak over there, you'll notice it drops down several hundred feet, probably about 1,400 feet, and then you got this here. That connecting ridge there with the small bumps along it, that's called the Sawtooth Range right there. It's basically an appendage of these Laguna Mountains, but they call it the Sawtooth Range, and that's the high point there. It's about 4,600 plus feet. I was thinking one day, maybe climb up over Garnet and see how the slopes are going down and trying to hit that one day. That would really be fun, but I would wait until the weather gets much colder, so it's not so sapping. But yeah, that right there, I've noticed that. That seems like an interesting peak right there. You have to go over Garnet Peak. Basically, is probably your best bet. Maybe park at the Garnet Peak Trail on the side of Sunrise Highway, so you can cut off some mileage from some of the other Garnet Peak approaches. Climb over Garnet, dip down about 1,400 feet to about a 4,400 foot saddle, and then hit that right there. It might be doable. It might be doable. Otherwise, you might have to find a really lengthy approach from down there if it's not cordoned off by private property and all that other fun stuff. But I can see that being a possibility. Get to that little point right there on the Sawtooth Range. So that's what that little ridge is extending off from Garnet Peak, is what we call the Sawtooth Range. So Garnet Peak might be the pinnacle of both one of the pinnacles of the Lagunas, and then the Sawtooth Range as well. So I don't know if that 4,600 foot peak would be the high point of the Sawtooth Range, or it would be Garnet Peak, because Garnet Peak is classified as being in the Lagunas. So yeah, there's some pretty good views down towards Storm Canyon. And then this ridge here, I'm not sure what this is called. I'll have to look it up and see if I can find out on the topo maps. This real rocky, bouldery ridge down here in the foreground, coming up from south of Monument Peak. But hopefully I get some desert hiking in this year, when the weather gets much colder, that is. But yeah, this is a pretty cool little perch over here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work my way back to the PCT. It's basically just it's a maze of chaparral, so it's just stepping where the least resistance is, unless you don't mind wading through everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get back on the PCT. I'm going to head towards that saddle. And I think I'm going to try to climb up that fire break. There's a fire break on this side of Hayes Peak. So I'm going to go up that way to get up to Hayes Peak. So we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, this is a pretty cool little perch right here too. Like I said, there's not a lot of prominence here. You're going to dip down maybe about 80 feet. But it is a prominent point right at the cusp of beautiful Storm Canyon, which one day I would love to try hiking it. But we'll see if or when that's going to be possible. Because Storm Canyon would either be a huge descent, rock scramble, rock climb, or really lengthy ascent. So I'm either going to be going downhill and then uphill to come back, or a very lengthy approach from down below and then go back down on the way out. So we'll see. All right, I'm going to start heading back to the PCT, which is over there. Just going to work my way through this maze. See back there, I'm going to turn left on the PCT and start heading towards that fire break at the saddle to get up to Hayes Peak. Alright, so I'm back on the PCT. Kind of just skirted around. Definitely not a direct approach, but I was able to get through without an insane amount of waiting or even any true bushwhacking, so looks good to me. But I did come down. I got back on the trail a little further back than where I had started. So you can see I'm going uphill. So yeah, I left the trail right about around here. That's where I first left it. Right here where I crested. So I came back maybe about 30 yards behind. This is about where I left the trail here. Basically what I did is follow the path of least resistance up towards that little mound and then angled towards the peak over there. That was cool. It's only maybe about 300 to 350 feet elevation gain to get up to peak 5958. So it's not really that tough. But for the relatively small amount of work to get up here, the payoff is incredible. It's a really cool peak. I'm sure only people who use Peak Bagger probably really go up there. So now I'm going to be heading down towards a 5,850-ish foot saddle. Roughly about that elevation. And then it's going to be probably about anywhere from a 300 to 350 foot climb to get up there, up to Hayes Peak. And the last time I did Hayes Peak, September of last year, and I did that after I did Monument Peak, and I came up from the other side of Hayes Peak after doing Monument Peak. Today I'm going to go up the back side of Hayes Peak, because a lot of people combine Hayes and Monument Peaks into one hike, and a lot of times they'll hit Hayes Peak last. They'll hit Monument Peak first, Hayes Peak, and then get back down to the PCT and whatever other connecting trails they use. Well, actually, you're on a use trail that takes you back to the PCT. But yeah, I'm going to be heading up that way now. So, actually, shouldn't be that much longer before I get up there. So we'll see. Alright, so I'm going to be approaching the fire break pretty soon. On the way there, it's a beautiful shrubby canyon live oak here. It's got some acorns on it. Pretty cool. Nice little canyon live oak thicket over here. So yeah, I could see the fire break. It's kind of thin, probably old, but I could definitely see getting up there not being a problem. Might be some wading, maybe some minor bushwhacking occasionally, but I really don't see too much of an issue. So I should be at that saddle pretty soon. Or, well, actually, I'm pretty much at the saddle, but looks like I might have to elevate a little bit and then branch off of the PCT. So I'm still on the PCT right now. This is quite a lovely stretch here. Mostly scrub oaks, occasional black oaks popping up, and a lot of birch leaf mountain mahogany, Cercocarpus betuloides, variety betuloides. There's a lot of that here. It's actually probably the dominant shrub in this area. And all those things shining in the picture, those are all the seeds. So, now let's see here. PCT itself should skirt around the western slope of Hayes Peak, I believe. But what I need to do is, I don't know if it's going to be here or just a little further up. I am going to need to head towards the ridge there. So let me have to do a little looking around. Now here's the PCT trail sign. So I believe I should be, the PCT might actually go up towards where the fire break is without too much needing to look around. So we are starting to climb up again. That's where I just was, right over there. Peak 59, 58. So now I gotta look to where I'm gonna enter the fire break. It'll be a little jaunt to the left to get into the fire break. So let's see. All right, so looks like this is where I'm going to enter the fire break. It's the trail here. That's the PCT southbound. So I'm doing, it's over here. This is where I'm going to bear off and start looking for the fire break to get up here. All right, let's see. It's a nice little trail over here. Let's see. So they built a rock wall over here. Interesting. Boy, somebody set up I don't know if you can really set up a site over here, maybe a bivvy. But you get a really insane view. And it's just crazy how it's all chaparral. All tightly knit chaparral as you go down and down and down, and then boom, before you know it, it's desert. So that's one really cool thing about the ridgeline of the Laguna Mountains. Very sharp transitions. Really, it's a sharp transition. All right, so I'm going to start worming my way up this fire break, and I'll see you on the way with some more updates on how my progress is going. So, a little chunk of the way up. That's down where the junction is. PCT goes that way and around the west slope of the peak. This is a really scenic ridge climb. Just got a tiny rock scramble. Nothing too bad. Just use your hands just to balance when you get over that little bit there. But nothing too insane. Then I got this part here, which I believe should constitute the rest of the climb up to Hayes Peak. So far, there's not really a fully blown distinct trail, but it is a very followable fire break, and you will see traces of a pathway here and there. As I'm pretty sure this direction gets climbed occasionally as well. We're nearing close to 6,000 feet. It's a beautiful hollyleaf redberry up here. Rhamnus licifolia. Beautiful stuff here. They still have their red fruits on them too. Really beautiful. So, I'm just going to keep following this. Like I said, it's pretty easy to follow. It is kind of a parting of the shrubs for the most part. It's pretty easy to follow. Even if you get off track, even if you get off the fire break track, it shouldn't be more than a little bit of wading and some barely even knee-high brush in some areas. And if you're trying to get up to the peak, you just basically got to follow it uphill. So, keep you posted. Probably when I'm just about to summit, and take a look at some views up here too. Let's see, I might be getting near the top of the peak. It's a very scenic way to get up to Hayes Peak, I'll tell you. I highly recommend this way to get up here. Come from the backside of it. It's really good perspectives coming up this. Very beautiful. Sometimes when you get a little break in the ridge, you get some vertiginous views down Storm Canyon. Really recommend this way to come up here if you're a little more adventurous. It's definitely a much longer climb. Well, much longer in a relative term than the way between Monument Peak and here. But I think it's even more beautiful. Oh boy. It's a little rocky, so just watch your footing. It's steeper in places. Steep in places, but totally doable. All right. Just about here. All right. Peak number 2 of the day, Hayes Peak. And this one sits at 6,180 to 6,220 feet. And there's a summit register up here. Pretty cool. So here we are, Hayes Peak. My second time up here in just a little over 12 months. So I think I'm gonna go for Monument Peak as well. Guys will make a hat trick out of it today. So I kind of pointed out the views on 59, 58. I think here I'll just do a general 360. Starting off to the west and working my way counterclockwise. All right, and when I get to Monument Peak, I'm just gonna end up doing the same thing. So yeah, the typical approach is to take the PCT, get on the use trail, and then a lot of times people go to Monument Peak first, and then swing over to do Hayes Peak after, and come from this way, which is maybe about 100 feet climbing, maybe about 100 feet climb from there. Pretty easy to get up there from here. But if you want a little bit more of a challenge to get up here and see some different scenery, definitely come up the north side of Hayes Peak. It's longer, a little more challenging, not difficult unless you're really bad at route finding. In other words, losing the fire brake a lot. If you're really bad at route finding and don't have any rocky trail experience, then you might have some difficulty, but it's pretty easy to get up here for, I would say, most people. And it's longer and more scenic. So now I can hear the traffic on Sunrise Highway. So you got the nice forested part of Laguna's right here. And up here on the chaparral-clad ridges and peaks. All right, well, yeah, Hayes Peak is a really cool peak. This is the second time I've been up here, and very impressed. Side lodge lizard over here. Ran away before I could even really look at him. Quite a male. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the south fire break and then go up to Monument Peak, and then on the way back, instead of coming back over Hayes Peak, I'm just going to dip down to the PCT and head northbound. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get something to sip on so I can keep myself hydrated. Haven't really needed any water so far, but I was on that part of the ridge right there. That's the ridge that leads up to peak 59, 58, my first stop for the day. I noticed some fall color right near the top of that part of the knoll. I wonder if those are western chokecherries. Some of them are starting to change color. All right, well, I'm gonna take a water break, and then I'm gonna start working my way to Monument Peak. That'll be my third visit up there, second time on video. And we'll see where else the adventure takes me. Alright, time to start heading down the south fire break. Kind of veered off for a minute, just kind of looking around. But this is the south fire break here. I said on the way back, I'm not going to bother going back over. PCT will be down there, so I should be pretty good. There's a use trail that connects these use trails and fire breaks over to the main use trail that goes towards the PCT on the return. So this is the typical approach to Hayes Peak. But I gotta say, the north approach is really cool, and I'm glad I took that approach today. This side here is quite a bit less steep, actually. The other side is actually quite a bit steeper. This is actually pretty easy right here. The back side's not really that, I guess it's not really extremely difficult by any stretch, but it's definitely more of a workout. Let's see. Yeah, it's definitely more of a workout than this is here. It's actually pretty fun too. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty fun. It's rocky too. So if you want a nice little extra challenge, go up Hayes Peak from the backside. All right. Wow. It's not gonna be long before I'm back well, not back, but at my next saddle. So here's another use trail coming here, and here's another one over here. So sometimes the little pathway splits off and meets up again. So don't get overly concerned. If you know where your landmarks are, you'll be fine. Nothing to really stress about. Just take some time back up and just look around a little bit, and you'll be good. All right. See you down there at the saddle. All right. Coming down this way, there's some spots where the trail gets very narrow and slightly hard to see, but like I said, it's usually a fairly easy push through whatever thin brush encroaches on your route. It's mostly going to be this Yerba Santa here, Aerodictyon Trichocalix variety lanatum. This is mostly what's going to be what you're going to be brushing up against on the way back. Some are larger, woodier shrubs, but definitely no real bushwhacking either. So here we are at the saddle. Now I'm going to get ready to climb up there. It's probably about 200 feet above us. So this will be my third peak of the day. Some very nice pinkback manzanita growing along here. You'll notice none of these manzanitas have their pre-formed flower buds. So that's how I know for a fact. Even though I can kind of tell by the structure of the twigs and everything, slight differences in the twigs, I can tell I'm looking at pinkback. But you don't see you don't see next year's flower buds pre-formed on it. That's how we know we're looking at pinkback manzanita over here. There's a lot of it actually around here. And some thick canyon live oak acorns. I love that. I love how thick these acorns are. Look at that. Oh boy, those are some thick acorns. All right. So now I am starting my ascent. Look at that beautiful canyon live oak. Now I'm going to start my ascent up towards my third summit of the day. Good old Monument Peak. It'll be my third visit up there, my second time since recording video. Okay, well, I'm going to start heading up and I'll see you up the way for some updates. So we are just about at 6,140 feet. This is an interesting looking shrub. I think this is a Fremont silk tassel. I think that's what this is. Yeah. This looks like Garrya fremontii, Fremont silk tassel. Leaves are hairless. They're not as grayish green as in Garrya fulvescens or Garrya veitchii. So it looks like we got a Fremont silk tassel up here. Garrya fremontii. Again, we're about 6,140 feet in elevation right now. And we're out in this beautiful chaparral. Yeah, I think that's the first ever Fremont silk tassel I've ever seen here in the Lagunas. It's supposed to be found in Cuyamaca. I think it's supposed to be found near the Cuyamaca Peak area. Now I've seen Fremont silk tassel up on the Devil's Slide Trail in the San Jacinto Mountains. I've seen it over there. And of course, more cupleaf ceanothus, Ceanothus perplexans, pinkback manzanita, Arctostaphylos pringlei, subspecies drupacea, and common chamise, of course. No surprise there, Adenostoma fasciculatum, variety fasciculatum. We got some pretty cool stuff up here, and it looks like we got both Garrya fulvescens and Garrya fremontii up here, which is pretty cool. The leaves tend to be a little brighter green instead of a grayish green. Alright. So now I'm going to cut left here and work my way up to Monument Peak for my third summit. Pretty interesting. So you can see the brown color, reddish rust brown color of the chamise. These are all the seed heads. These plants produce copious seeds, the chamise. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cut up the use trail. Get me up to the peak. Alright, I'm going to go on this use trail to finish up my climb. Right here. Next to the paved road. So the last push right here. I'm going to be kind of quiet because there seem to be people up there working. Again, so when I'm up there, I'm going to be pretty quiet. Just in case there's any people working up there. Just going to enjoy the views. That's about it. It's pretty rocky coming up here. See you when I'm up there. 3. 6,271. The people that work at the tower kind of had to skirt by and do a small class 3 rock scramble right over there. But this is the peak right here. Hayes Peak. Quick little panoramic view starting in the south. Peak number 3 of the day. All right. There's our BLM benchmark. Pretty cool. Right up here at the top, hollyleaf redberry, Rhamnus ilicifolia. And the other 2 peaks here, Hayes Peak, Peak 5958. Pretty darn good views up here. You can even see Pine Mountain, the one I hiked back in January. I'll try to zoom in on it. It's right there underneath Cuyamaca, that ridge. It's Pine Mountain. Pretty good views. Pretty insane views down here. See the Sawtooth Range wiggling its way down. Pretty neat, I gotta admit. Good views up here. Of course, I can see Peak 6299, aka Mount Laguna, aka Cleveland National Forest High Point, Cuyapaipe. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Great inspiration up here. I might just walk down the road back to that area. I think that's what I might do. So I'm going to go ahead and start leaving the summit area. I'll get a couple of pictures up here, of course. Alright, so I left the summit area. I'm going to take the road down a little bit. Kind of just don't want to get near all the people working and stuff. That's what you got to watch out for when you come up here. Especially on weekdays. I don't know about weekends, but might be a lot of people working, and try to stay out of their way. Because it's respectful, you know, they got a job to do. side blotch lizard here. Look at this little handsome guy. What a beautiful little lizard. I think that's a female too. She's a beauty. What a beautiful little lizard. All right. Look at this eastern drop off here. Look at that. How incredible is that? Never came over to this part here before. I've never come to the edge of the cliffs and big drops. Oh, that is nice. That is so beautiful. Oh wow, that is incredible. How beautiful is this view? And this little mountain range here, I gotta figure out more about what this is. I gotta figure out what this is. See if there's a way I can get to hiking those. Alright, so I'm gonna follow the road. It should lead me, should kind of wiggle its way around. That's over towards Stevenson Peak right there. Very neat. I like this area. So if you walk on the road, just watch out for utility workers. Just keep out of their way because they don't have time to babysit people who are reckless and stuff. Give them your distance. Yeah, this is really cool. Really cool. I wonder how far I can get towards Stevenson Peak without hitting private property. I wonder how close I can get. Because I'm tempted. Not quite ready to end the hike yet. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, right here at this little workstation. So this would be heading towards Stevenson Peak. I'll go around this fence to find the fire break / use trail to get back to the PCT. So I'm gonna go head this way for a little while and see what it's like. There's a nice big pink bright manzanita right here. Look at that. That's a magnificent pink black manzanita right there. It's a magnificent specimen. Alright, so as I'm getting ready to head down this way, I've been trying to record a spotlight video on a shrub and my camera's acting up against. So I guess it's one of the SD, hopefully it's just one of the SD cards. I've had this problem before and it drives me nuts. So I'm going to start, like I said, I'm going to start heading down this way and see how far I can get. See if I can actually get up there. Once I run into private property, then I'll abort, of course. But we'll see. Maybe I can get close to it and see what happens. But as we're leaving here, we're going to see some Pinus quadrifolia or Pinus juarensis. See some pinyon pines over there. A few of them popping up now. Pretty cool to see. I haven't really left this area yet. I've been over here for about a half an hour recording clips and taking pictures of a shrub for a spotlight video. So, and the other SD card I use for the spotlight videos is acting retarded right now, so I'm kind of upset about that, but I'm going to keep on moving on. We'll see. So, as I was mentioning before, I was having some trouble recording a segment of a spotlight video. I've tried, and it's just one single segment of it, trying to tell the difference between the species I'm talking about and other species that are similar to it. And each time, it got ruined. Each time, the file looks corrupted. I have a feeling when I get back home and try to do it on a computer, it's going to be ruined. So what I ended up doing is I tried it like 4 or 5 times to record that clip. So what I ended up doing is just took a bunch of pictures of the spotlight video in question, the spotlight in question, and another shrub that's similar to it. And I'm just going to type in it, and I'm just going to let it run as a little slideshow. If the files are indeed corrupted, which I'm believing they will be. It just aggravates me. I'm out here to have fun and enjoy myself and try to do positive things, and I just don't need all that aggravation right now. So let's see. Let's see how far I can get on this. There's Wooded Hill over there. I can see some more forested area down there. Wonder what it's like over there. But like I said, if I come across a private property gate off, then I'm obviously not gonna try my luck and be dumb. But I just want to see how far I can go along this and see what happens. See what I find, or if I can actually get near Stevenson Peak. Alright, so I'm working along this road here. Nicely forested over here. Nice stand of Jeffrey pines in here. Very nice stand. Nicely forested area here. Very nice. Ooh. Wonder what that was. Very beautiful over here. Very nicely forested. Some nice Mueller scrub oak over here. Alright. Now, let's see what happens next. We're coming up on some coulter pines. Ooh, yeah. Look at these. These are beautiful. There's a lot of coulter pines over here. These are all coulter pines, it looks like. Very nice looking trees. Very handsome. Is this an oracle oak over here? Yep. So last week I saw an oracle oak over near the Laguna Mountain Visitor Center. And here's another oracle oak, and this one tends to be more of a small tree. So last week I saw a little bushy one over on the Indian Trail Visitor Center. But over here along Monument Peak Road, there's another oracle oak. This is the second one. Just looking to see if there are any acorns on here. I don't see any. The other one, the one I saw there, had acorns on it. So that's a hybrid between the interior live oak and evergreen oak, Quercus woosleseni, and ours would be variety frutescens, and the black oak, Lucky. You can tell the leaves on the oracle oak back there had some shallow lobes, whereas the black oak has the much deeper lobes. So the leaves are kind of intermediate between the two oaks. Should be a pretty interesting viewpoint over here. I'd be curious about trying to hike to that ridge over there, but I think that's on Indian lands, I think. I think that ridge line gets up to about 6,200 feet, I think. It'd be neat to get up to the high point of that, but I don't know if that's possible. I don't even know if I should try to go up to the top of Stevenson Peak either. But I had to stop by and check out this little area here. Very beautiful over here. It's a very nice forest down on the west slope, coming down from the ridge line here. So yeah, we got ourselves a small oracle oak, Quercus morehus. Shallow lobes this time. And since the live oak is evergreen and the black oak is deciduous, that one might lose anywhere from almost no leaves to almost all of its leaves. Very nice over here. All right, let's see what happens up the way. Wow. Actually came across some other hikers. One of them was on the phone, so let's get cell reception up here. Beautifully forested over here. So far I haven't seen any gates or any signs say no trespassing. So I guess I'm okay, as long as I stay outside of the fence. Very pretty over here. Smells good over here with all the pine trees. Predominantly coulters here. I'm gonna get another water out. It's all the way back to Monument Peak over there. Come quite a ways. Very beautiful over here. Absolutely stunning. Ooh. I was thinking to myself, since we're near a little bit more of a lusher forested area, I wonder if any incense cedar will be popping up. And yeah, some incense cedar over there. Look at that beautiful coulter pine grove up here. Very beautiful. Absolutely stunning. All right, I'm gonna get water and finish my way up. My third oracle oak is another one. Pretty cool. There's Monument Peak. That's where I was a little while ago. Yeah, got quite a bit of oracle oak up here. It's a pretty scenic hike. A lot of people might not be crazy about hiking on roads, but not gonna lie, it's pretty cool. Well, getting near Stevenson Peak now. Pretty close. I don't know how how close I'll be able to get. But we'll see. Another little pinyon pine up here. First I was thinking it looked like it had thick single needles, like single leaf pinyon, but the needles are just kind of stuck together. I was thinking, okay, single leaf pinion's up here too, huh? Nice candy live oak thickets. Pretty easy road walk for Monument Peak over here. Heading back, I'll have probably about 200 feet of elevation gain on the way back. All right. See near the highest point I can get to without trespassing. So I'm getting closer to the peak. It's another oracle oak. Nice, healthy, thick oracle oak here. And there's a Mueller scrub oak right here next to it. These two are not closely related. I mean, they're related as oaks, but this is a white oak, and this is a red oak. So that's another oracle oak. Pretty interesting. Well, this is as close as I get. So I've almost made it up here. I'm not going to go any further than that, because it says, I can't even read it that well. But I think beyond this point, I think what this says is area closed to all public and wow, water went down the wrong pipe. So I'm not going to go any further than this. So made it almost up to Stevenson Peak, but it really is off limits. So I'm not going to go any further than that. I'm going to start heading back. Well, that was pretty close. It's just up there, but see that sign there. I'm not gonna go any further. And I'm actually not surprised. I figured at some point I would find the sign. So again, I'm gonna try to be respectful, and I mean, I was pretty close to Stevenson Peak. Oh well, got pretty close. Oh, see you on the next clip. Alright, I'm wondering if I can work my way down and intercept the PCT by Sunrise Highway. If I could do that, that would be really cool. So I don't have to go back the way I came. So I'm going to go down this. If I have to, I'll hoof it along Sunrise Highway. Not that I really want to, but yeah, this is my usual little turnout spot over here. So yeah, definitely don't go up to Stevenson Peak. But I did see a sign as I was getting closer to it that said, like I said, it was half vandalized and rubbed out. So I did not go past that sign. Did not go past that sign. So let's see if I can get down by, see if I can find the PCT nearby. So I know the PCT is mostly on this side of Sunrise Highway. So maybe I can intercept it below the ridge line. Ooh, hollyleaf cherry. Prunus ilicifolia. I don't know, these are quite ready yet. Another wild edible here. Kind of sweet. Yeah, it was ripe. Sometimes you get a purplish hue. Very tasty. At least that one. All right, well, keep working my way down and hopefully come across the PCT. All right, found the PCT. It does cut right through here on this little access road by Stevenson Peak. That's Sunrise right over there. So I'm gonna hop back on the PCT and follow this back to my junction. So looks like I got a little ways to go today. So this is for the first time in a while I'm actually on trail instead of on road or whatever. So I'm gonna go ahead and start heading back. So yeah, it's right next to where the Sunrise Highway is. PCT cuts through here. All right, well, it's good to be back on trail. All right, let's see what we find along the way on this. What kind of interesting things pop up here. I saw another male velvet ant. Second one. There we go. That was a male velvet ant. Here's another one. Right here. Wish it would land and stay still for a minute. That's a male velvet ant. Velvet ants, again, are wasps. They're in the Hymenoptera, but they're wasps, not ants. So they're related. Wasps and ants are related, but the males have wings. The females don't have wings, and they're the ones that can sting you pretty harshly. I don't think the males sting. That was really cool. Second male one I've seen today. I don't see those super often. Velvet ants, period. But today was the first day I've seen male velvet ants. All right. Pretty neat. Like I said, we're on the PCT now. Stevenson Peak is just up there. So this is going to wrap around the west slope of Stevenson Peak, Monument Peak, Hayes Peak, and it's going to go down, go near the turnoff where I went up to Peak 5958. So today was nearly a 4-peak day. Like I said, once I saw the sign, I knew I was not going to go any further and finish climbing up to the peak. There's just up there. So I got pretty close, but like I said, when I saw that sign, I knew it was time to turn around. So, time to hoop it along the PCT for a little while and get a new part of the adventure of the day. Making this a skinny loop hike today. Ooh, Serviceberry. I'm at Lockyer, Utah-ensis. Pretty cool. See, all of a sudden, now I'm seeing a bunch of oracle oaks. This is the fourth one I've seen today. Now I'm seeing a lot of oracle oak growing around here. This is crazy. This is actually a tree. This is an oracle oak tree. Actually, a couple of them. Yeah, see, the bark is pretty similar to your black oak. This is Quercus marejus, the hybrid between the interior live oak and the California black oak. I think that's an oracle too. Yeah, a few oracle oak trees over here. So I wonder if these are going to stay evergreen or they're going to shed some of their leaves. This is really cool. These are some of the largest oracle oaks I've seen. And the bark is closer to its California black oak relative. See, the leaves have some almost like shallow lobation on them, but not quite super lobed. And of course, here are the California black oaks, one of their parents, right here with the more deeply lobed leaves. So yeah, those are some nice, nice oracle oaks. I guess there are a lot more of them than I thought here. Very pleasantly surprised. And here's a Pinus quadrifolia or Pinus juarensis. Nice, beautiful pinyon pine. Again, this is either going to be Perry pinyon or Sierra Juarez pinyon, depending on whom you believe or whom you refer to. But yeah, so we got a lot of Perry pinyon around here too. Quite a few specimens. So it looks like this is going to be a pretty scenic hike back. So we're right near the 6,000 foot contour. We're right near it, probably just about at the contour line of 6,000 feet. But I know we're going to dip below it on the way back. So I wonder if there's any more. There must be a lot more oracle. See, the more I explore this mountain range, the more I find, obviously. So that's pretty cool. So I'm seeing a lot more oracle oak right along here. Absolutely insane. And a lot of hollyleaf redberry growing along here. So look at this. There's a lot of oracle oak over here. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised to be seeing it here, but today is the second time I've ever seen oracle oak in these mountains, and now I'm seeing it everywhere along the PCT. So if you're along the PCT west of Stevenson Peak, and you're into our local botany scene, take and savor this one, because there's a lot to see along here. Nicely wooded. We're in a nice open pine oak woodland here. And of course these black oaks are going to be changing color pretty soon. So we are in October. So just come here and appreciate the wonder that is the Pacific Crest Trail here in the Laguna Mountains. This is a very beautiful part of the hike here. Basically, just about all the business hiking, in other words, climbing the peaks, it's all done. So it's time to return to the car. Oh. Wow, very nice over here. Some of these are coulter pines too, I bet. Yeah, that one's shaped more like a coulter pine than a Jeffrey pine. But yeah, seems to be a lot of oracle oak here mixing in here with the California black oaks. And these are black oaks here. Okay, a lot to dig and a lot to enjoy. pretty nice here. The camera's starting to give me some trouble. I'm getting really concerned that this is not going to work. So I ran out of memory in my last card. Now I'm using another card, and the other cards I've been using have been completely malfunctioning on me, even when I record a spotlight. So wow, it's a pretty decent sized Jeffrey pine. It's one of the larger ones I've seen here. Got some type of Douglas fir over there. Now, big cone Douglas fir should not be native to these mountains. I've never seen it here at Mount Laguna. I don't even know if they get as far south as Cuyamaca. Well, that's a nice sized Jeffrey pine right there. But I think over there is a Douglas fir. I think that's a Pacific Douglas fir. Does not look like a big cone Douglas fir. I think there's some cabins or something down there, I believe. So I think there's some private property down there. So somebody must have planted. Yeah, that could be a Pacific Douglas fir right there. But again, without getting up close to it and stuff, I'm not sure. That's crazy. That could be a Douglas fir. But I'm not going to go over there and go on their private property. I'm on the PCT, so I'm on a public throughway here. But yeah, that could be a Pacific Douglas fir. Interesting.